Ladies and gentlemen, here we are again, Hudson County View, live and uncut. I'm your host, for what you see is what you get, and what you don't is better yet. John Arhitis. Obviously, it's been a little while. It's nice to be back. Before we get into it today, though, I just really wanted to express my gratitude to everyone that sent a text message, made a phone call, sent an email, posted on my Twitter, my Facebook about the passing of my dad, Ken Hines, on June 10th, last Wednesday. So I just wanted to quickly read his mass card and of course, thank everyone again for their gratitude, for their kindness during this tough time. It says, in loving memory of Kenneth A. Hines, March 25th, 1952, June 10th, 2020. A beautiful life that came to an end. He died as he lived, everyone's friend. In our hearts, a memory will always be kept of one we loved and will never forget. So, love and miss you, Dad. Thanks again, everybody. So, as far as the news is concerned, obviously, the news never stops, the news never sleeps, and there's been plenty to talk about in the past 7 days. So we're going to start off the show talking to you about a racist rant from a West New York woman who ended up getting fired from her job in Party City. That one was something that you guys have, I'm sure, seen by now. That had tens of thousands of retweets. I mean, she deleted the Facebook post, but we know that the internet is forever, and that came back very quickly. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Assemblywoman Angela McKnight's bill to create a civilian complaint review board for municipalities across the state. We're going to chat a little bit about State Senator Brian Stack's bill that would allow municipalities to create their own rent relief ordinances during this public health emergency. We're going to talk about what West New York is going to do now that they do not have a health officer. We're also going to speak about some police matters in Jersey City. You guys probably heard that earlier today, Mayor Phillip announced that $1 million will be spent on de-escalation training. It'll be a two-pronged program that will go on for about 8 months. And on top of that, we're going to talk about the 2019 use of force reports from the Jersey City Police Department. So we're going to hope to fill you in on all that and much more. But first, we're going to take a commercial break.
Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, Jersey City. Hudson County's only monument maker, serving all faiths and cemeteries. Design, studio, and launch inventory on site. Cemetery inscriptions and custom orders welcome. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, just south of Secaucus Road. Craftsmanship that will last for all eternity. Burns Brothers, Jersey City, Albert H. Hopper, North Arlington. Visit us on the net. Consumer Carpets, 3408 Kennedy Boulevard in the Jersey City Heights, your one-stop store for residential and commercial floor treatments, carpeting, linoleum, tiles, laminates, hardwood floors, area rugs, remnants, all major brands, all in stock. Free estimates, same-day installation. Consumer Carpets, it's savings, selection, installation. Credit cards and debit cards accepted. Financing available. Consumer Carpets, price to fit your budget, installation to fit your schedule. On the net at consumercarpets.com. Consumer Carpets, Jersey City, 201-792-2712. The Jersey City Medical Center. You know it for its award-winning, life-saving ambulance service. It's also your health hub, with health and wellness locations staffed with certified professionals all through Hudson County. The Jersey City Medical Center, here to help you with your healthy, here when you need us the most. The Jersey City Medical Center. Visit us on the net to learn more. Jersey City Medical Center, Robert Wood Johnson, Barnabas Health Facility. Let's be healthy together.
Hudson County View, live and uncut, John Arhitis. So as I just noted a couple minutes ago, we're going to start talking about a video that started making the rounds on Thursday evening. And that was a video of Jacqueline Michelle DeLuca, a West New York woman who worked at a Party City in North Bergen. And while that video was deleted quickly from her Facebook page, this racist, very aggressive video, I think it's safe to call it, that made its way on Twitter very quickly. And if you guys aren't familiar with the story, it's one that I think is worth reading. I mean, I won't say much more. Let me just tell you a little of what it said. The clip a little too explicit for our standards, but said, for example, expletive, all of you Black Lives Matter people, she said, kill them all. The video has nearly 40,000 retweets, and it gets a lot more explicit from there. And as I just said, DeLuca had been working at the Party City in North Bergen, and they issued a statement on Thursday evening, of course, denouncing this kind of language, these kind of feelings. And they said Party City stands in solidarity with our Black colleagues, customers, and communities and we condemn acts of racism, bigotry, and hate. Disregard for basic human rights of any kind has no place in our communities or country, and certainly not at Party City. Now, DeLuca later posted an apology on her Facebook page saying that she regretted using those words, and she said that she let a tense moment basically get the best of her. So her post said in part, it was a long one, but in part it says, I let anger get the best of me at the moment, and I ask as a human to please forgive what I'm trying to get across. This is not someone I wish people to know me by, but someone who is about change and equality. And with everything going on, I was sucked into the evil and confusion. With all that being said, I wish everyone in the world, I hope what life has become doesn't affect you the way it has affected me. Obviously, there's no argument. These have been tough and trying times for everyone. Of course, the public health emergency, now these racial tensions we're seeing across the country, and not on top of the everyday stresses of life. But so I don't know exactly what spurred this rant, but clearly at a minimum it costed her her job, and she is regretful. We're going to see if there's any follow up here. I mean, it doesn't seem like a situation that would warrant such, but we're going to keep our eye on it just in case, and we'll certainly keep you guys informed if anything new transpires there. So we're just going to keep right on rolling for the time being. And I just wanted to briefly touch on this bill that Assemblywoman McKnight has been working on. I mean, we talked a little bit about this last week. And this bill would create a civilian complaint review board in every municipality across the state that approves it. And that was actually cleared in one of the assembly panels over the a few days ago, excuse me. And Assemblywoman McKnight said afterwards that the rise in fatalities of men and women in police custody happening around the country has left communities in despair, feeling targeted and on the wrong side of justice. When we talk about restoring community and police relations, the involvement of community members in the dialogue that directly affects their neighborhoods, the actions taken by police in their communities is now critical to maintaining social justice. So the bill, which is A4272, again, that would establish these CCRB boards in any municipality that would allow the governing body to establish them, and they would review and investigate complaints against members of the local police forces. And we've seen that in Newark, for example, when they created their board, there was subpoena review power, and there was actual ability to take legislative action. So, in other words, it wouldn't just be a review panel. They would actually have the ability to take action. Now, that Newark board that I just mentioned is actually awaiting a hearing from the New Jersey Supreme Court, and that's been tied up in litigation for years. So a lot of people at one point, including Mayor Fulop, expressed a desire to see that come to a resolution before that they made any decisions in their own municipality, city, town. But now it seems that this bill, along with a call from activists throughout the state, including Jersey City, it's possible that we may get these civilian complaint review boards sooner rather than later. However, this is just the beginning of the process. Let's pump the brakes for just a moment here. It only cleared the Assembly Community Relations Committee on Monday. And, it will have to clear the whole Assembly. And then I imagine it will have to clear a Senate panel, followed by the complete Senate. And then Governor Murphy would have to sign this. The governor, of course, a Democrat, has spoke a lot about social justice issues. He certainly took a lot of flack the other week when he marched in one of those Black Lives Matter protests over at Hillside. And this is an issue that he has said is near and dear to his heart, and he thinks is a once in a lifetime type of cause. So, we're going to see. I mean, this might move a little faster than your average bill about, say, maybe tax reform or something like that. But realistically, this is something that's probably going to take a couple months. But, we're waiting and we're watching to see what our leaders in Trenton do. So we're going to do our best to, again, keep you informed about all that. So with that in mind, we're going to take another word from our sponsors. We'll be right back.
Good Friend Self Storage in North Bergen, New Jersey is a fully climate-controlled facility equipped with state-of-the-art security, packing supplies, a Refer a Friend program, and multiple loading docks convenient for commercial use. Located just off of Route 3 at 4301 Tunnelly Avenue, Route 1 and 9. Call 201-867-2444 or visit us on the web today. Good Friend Self Storage. Let us be your good friend.
Newport, the luxury waterfront community on the Hudson River, offers the quality of life you deserve in 10 high-rise rental towers with amenities such as the on-site Newport Path subway, light rail and ferry service, Newport Town Square, 3 playgrounds, dog run, upscale restaurants, retail giants like Sears, JCPenney, Macy's, and Target. Morton Williams Supermarket is just outside your front door. A health and fitness club, spa, skating rink, and medical facilities are also on site. NewportNJ.com. Enjoy the New York skyline from Newport Town Square. Manhattan is just one path stop away or quick ride through the Holland Tunnel. Nursery and private elementary schools all on site. 12-screen movie theater at the Newport Center Mall. Want to visit Newport? Stay at the Westin or Marriott Hotel. Go to NewportNJ.com for details. Newport has luxurious towers, great restaurants, shopping, New York skyline views, schools, playgrounds, a marina and yacht club, gym, spa, fine wine, fine living. It's incredible. It's you. NewportNJ.com. Newport, live like you want.
Hudson County View, live and uncut. John Our Highness. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was also out of Trenton, and we're going to be talking about a bill introduced by State Senator Brian Stack of the 33rd Legislative District. And this particular piece of legislation would allow municipalities to pass ordinances that would put rent evictions on the hold until the COVID-19 emergency is concluded. So this is something that you guys are probably aware has already happened in Union City. The Union City Board of Commissioners approved something to this effect in April. And I'm going to explain a little bit more about the context here in the background. But before I do, let's talk a little bit about the bill. So this is a statement from Brian Stack, and he says, one of the biggest lessons we learned during the Great Recession was the need to prevent mass homelessness in this state. New Jersey families that have been unable to afford rent during the COVID-19 pandemic do not deserve to be evicted and thrown onto the streets. This is just a totally inhumane act during these trying times. Not only is it important we prevent people from becoming homeless, we also need people to stay inside so we can beat the pandemic. So pretty straightforward there. Again, this is something that you guys are probably aware is already ongoing in Union City. And you probably also know that on March 19th, Governor Murphy signed Executive Order 106, which halts foreclosures and evictions for the duration of the coronavirus pandemic. Now, the ban would end after the public health emergency is declared over. However, landlords would still be able to recover unpaid rent by filing an action with a county superior court. And Stack's bill, which is S2485, was released from the full Senate by a vote of 31-0 earlier this week. Now, the context here that makes this a little more interesting than your average bill about housing or rent or really anything else is that Stack, in his capacity as Union City Mayor, is engaged in a court battle with the Union City Housing Initiative. And they're a property owners group that's seeking to overturn the city's local rent hike and eviction freezes. Like I told you, the Board of Commissioners approved those in April. So last week, if you guys recall, an attorney for the UCHI argued that this bill would allow Stack to rewrite state law to retroactively give those aforementioned Union City ordinances legal standing. Certainly that's an interesting case right there. The attorney, Charles Gomali, me and him had a chance to have a conversation last week. And, he explained to me what's going on between rent landlord protections in New Jersey and how this legislation would effectively erase all of those previous regulations that were already in place statewide. Of course, that's just one interpretation, one side of the argument. We're going to see what happens in Hudson County Superior Court. You guys may also recall that when this lawsuit was filed in May, they asked for emergent relief from Hudson County Superior Court, but they were not granted that, though, and the case remains ongoing. So we're going to see what the conclusion is of that. I feel like this is something that we could see resolved probably within the next month, maybe even 6 weeks. But, you never know. When things get tied up in litigation, they could last years. Obviously, I would hope that the coronavirus pandemic is not going on years from now. But, we'll see. I think this is something that can be resolved in relatively short order. So with that, we're going to take another commercial break. We'll be back momentarily.
Most women who give birth recover without problems, but any woman can have complications after the birth of a baby. Learn the post-birth warning signs, such as fever, headache, chest pain, shortness of breath, increased bleeding, or thoughts of hurting yourself or someone else. Knowing these can save your life or the life of someone that you love. Trust your instincts. If you feel something is wrong, call and get evaluated by your healthcare provider. If your symptoms get worse or you do not hear back from your physician, call 911 or go to the nearest emergency room.
RWJ Barnabas Health. Let's be healthy together.
Pinto Properties, Jersey City. Shaping the workplace with state-of-the-art office spaces that address your company desires. Building residences that define your home environment, adjacent to all modes of transportation with on-site parking available. The right address, the right lease. Call 201-521-9000 or visit online at panapintoproperties.com. Panapinto Properties, building Jersey City for everyone.
County View live at Uncut, John R. Hudson. So, as I mentioned at the top of this program, there's been quite a few developments regarding the Jersey City Police Department, three in particular that I wanted to discuss. So, I'm just going to try to condense that all into one talking segment here. So, just bear with me as we go through the past 4 to 5 days. There's been a lot of development. So, actually, real quick, I'm just going to go back 8 days actually for the Jersey City Council meeting that was on June 10th. And at that meeting, you guys probably saw our reporting and others reporting that there were dozens of people that spoke out, regular residents that were calling to defund the police. A lot of those people wanted to see that budget, which is about $109.9 million, start to be allocated into other social services programs. I mean, this is not unique or unusual or specific even to Jersey City. You guys know this is a call that has gone nationwide ever since the tragic killing of George Floyd on May 25th. So with that, you guys probably also recall that there was no actual legislative action taken. The council didn't have anything in front of them about budgetary issues with the police department. And the only thing that related to the JCPD was Joyce Waterman, of course, the council president, her measure to create an ad hoc committee that would include 3 council members and then 6 to 9 community members, which would be 9 to 12 people total, of course. That ad hoc police committee to review police policy and procedure was approved. So we still don't know who's going to sit on that committee yet. It's just in its infancy, but they took that first step. So with that valuable context, let me tell you a little bit about something that we saw from Ward E Councilman James Solomon the other day. So Councilman Solomon did flat out say, let's defund police. He did say that the current police budget is unacceptable, specifically the amount of money being spent on police salaries. And this all came in an email blast that he did, I believe that was late on Tuesday evening. So I'm just going to read an excerpt for you here. Jersey City's futures as a just, multiracial, and multicultural city depends on transforming our budget. The current budget is unacceptable. It spends the overwhelming majority of discretionary funds on public safety. And he also said it provides proverbial pennies for core social services and core city functions, from city planning to mental health services to community-led anti-violence efforts, and it must change. Now, if you guys had a chance to see the email, I mean, he posted this on his Twitter, Facebook, as well as his Instagram. But if you had a chance to do it, or even if you just had a chance to read the story, you'll know that the total salary budget for 2020, of course, in Jersey City, is $258 million. And that would mean that 43% goes towards the Jersey City Police Department, and 75% goes towards public safety, which also includes the fire department and the Jersey City Parking Division. And while Solomon said that he supports a strong police department, he would, again, like to see some money allocated towards community-led anti-violence initiatives. And he points to Newark as an example of somebody that's done that. Their city council earlier this month decided to redirect $15 million from their public safety budget towards efforts like the ones Councilman Solomon's talking about in that blast. So he also cites, and you guys may also find this interesting, a analysis of FBI data from Governing Magazine that says the median average for U.S. cities with a population between 200,000 to 500,000 has 16.9 active officers for every 10,000 residents. Now here in Jersey City, there is 32.5 police officers for every 10,000 active residents. So obviously that's almost double. So as you can imagine, this led to some strong reactions, particularly from Mayor Fulop. And you know that he did his own email blast last week, and he said pretty definitively that our police budget is about 99% salaries. And if we were to do any sort of defunding of the police, it would just involve our younger officers being laid off. He said he's completely against that. And in light of that, you could probably imagine he was not too fond of the suggestions made by Councilman Solomon. And when I had a chance to speak to him, this is what he said. In this instance, James Solomon is heavy on platitudes based on politics, but light on substance, details, or results. Councilman Solomon's suggestion to defund the police of up to $15 million have no details when proposed because he knows it would result in less walking posts in poorer communities and mass layoffs of the recently recruited young minority police officers who happen to live in Jersey City. It is ironic that he was pushing policies that he knows would result in less safety for poor communities, being that he showed little to no interest in police initiatives for 3 years on this council. So, pretty strong words. And of course, one of the union reps of the Jersey City Police, specifically the Police Officers Benevolent Association President Carmine Disbrow, I think it goes without saying, not a supporter of the defund the police narrative. He's also noted that laying off young officers would be a detriment to keeping the urban areas of the city safe. And he says specifically that, to be more clear, Councilman Solomon seems to miss the point that there is nothing about taking police officers out of the neighborhoods they come from and where residents have asked them to be that is anti-violence. So, there's quite a bit to parse through there. But as you can see, it looks like we could be shaping up for a possibility of some sort of resolution or budget amendment being introduced in short order here in Jersey City regarding that police department. So, certainly something to keep an eye on, especially with all the talk about public safety going on nationally. But like I said, there's quite a few talking points here in Jersey City, so I'm just going to push on ahead here. And we're going to just briefly touch on a story that was done by my colleague, Corey McDonald. And it was, in my opinion, of course, I'm looking at it from a different lens than everyone watching here, but I think did a heck of a job. He spent a lot of time on this. This Open Public Records Act request led to us, or specifically Corey, getting 608 use of force reports filed in 2019 and for the Jersey City Police Department, and that's up 229% from 2018. So that's obviously a pretty big jump. And we're going to, I'm going to explain why that happened. So in 2018, there were 266 reported incidents of force, or, as we most commonly refer, use of force, and that went up to 608. Now, there was, you guys probably know about the New Jersey Advanced Media use of force database, and they published that in 2018, and those usually have data between 2012 and 2016. So in 2014, JCPD used force 219 times. That number was 202 in 2015, and then 266 in 2016. So all about what we saw in 2018. So certainly that's a pretty significant uptick, especially for such a large city with a department of almost 1,000 officers. Now, the city is attributing that to policy changes. And when Corey had a chance to speak with city spokeswoman Kimberly Wallace-Calcione, here's a little bit of how she put this into perspective. First, every officer department-wide was retrained on the stricter definitions and expanded reporting requirements, which brought it to include any incident where physical contact is made, even if an officer is peacefully assisting an emotionally disturbed person into an ambulance, for example. Now, also, she says use of force reports are filed online, making them easier to track and review. And finally, sergeants are now required to report to all arrest scenes, which, quote, generates more oversight to ensure force reports are being accurately filed and are no longer under the officer's discretion. Now, whether or not those were implemented or already on the books, I guess I should really say prior to Chief Michael Kelly, who was installed in January 2018, remains to be seen. But this is interesting in particular because of today's announcement from the city, where they announced that they're going to spend $1 million on a dual-pronged 8-month police de-escalating training program. So this is, not like anything that I have yet to see in New Jersey. So let's talk a little about that. Now, Mayor Fulop said, we're committed to providing our officers with the best possible training, and the expansion of this training to all officers will greatly benefit the community, meet the growing need for officers to hone their crisis management skills to proactively avoid dangerous situations in the future. Just a small excerpt of a fairly extensive quote, but I think you get the picture. Now, Again, two-pronged program. The first part of the program will be verbal de-escalation and crisis communication, and that'll be taught by a retired NYPD officer, and his name's Jack Cambria. And he's actually not just a retired officer, he's a former commanding officer of the NYPD hostage negotiation team. So, certainly has a little experience in this, to put it mildly. And the second portion will be conducted by Tomahawk Strategic Solutions, which utilizes interactive training to focus on strategies and approaches for police officers addressing hostile situations. If that name sounds familiar, not just because it's a little catchy, while they're based out of Nashville, Tennessee, they have played an integral role in planning active shooter drills in recent years at locations such as New Jersey City University and St. Peter's Prep. So you've seen a couple of people from Tomahawk Strategic Solutions interviewed and participating in public measures that were covered by Hudson County View. So that's the latest of the Jersey City Police Department. We're just going to take one final break before we bring you one more out of West New York.
Rama Jewelers, located in the Lyndhurst Shopping Center at 413 Valley Brook Avenue, Lyndhurst. Come for all your jeweler needs at Rama Jewelers, where you will find a fine selection of necklaces, earrings, rings, and bracelets. Choose from one of our complete sets, our many signature items, or find the perfect engagement ring. Come on down. That's Rama Jewelers at 413 Valley Brook Ave, Lyndhurst. Call 201-939-5784 or visit us online today.
You know those times when you need to see the doctor, but you just can't get to the doctor? So where do you go? Go to the App Store, download the Telemed app from RWJ Barnabas Health, and you see the doctor right away. From any mobile device, whenever you want, wherever you are.
Quality care, no appointment necessary. The doctor is online when you download the Telemed app.
Don't you feel better already?
RWJ Barnabas Health. Let's be healthy together.
Hudson County View, live at Uncut, John R. Highness. So the JCPD topic ended up going a little long, so I'm going to give you the hurry up offense here. We go back to West New York for one more. Now, you guys may have read a story from me the other day where I talked about the current status of the West New York Health Department. Now, they've been in a shared services agreement with North Bergen since 2018. However, that agreement is no more. Back on April 8th, the North Bergen Board of Commissioners sought to terminate that agreement, and that resolution said, whereas North Bergen has determined that it wishes to withdraw from and terminate the agreement effective June 10, 2020, by adopting this resolution and providing the required notice pursuant to the agreement. So, since June 10th, which was last Wednesday, the town of West New York has not had a health officer or any other employees. So, it's kind of interesting, to say the least, especially in the midst of this public health emergency. Now, North Bergen Health Officer Janet Castro also serves in the same capacity in Guttenberg, Union City, Secaucus, Harrison, and Weehawken. So I think it's safe to say that she is a household name when it comes to public health here in Hudson County, particularly in North Hudson. So with that in mind, we also wanted to point out, or I did point out previously, but I want to reiterate that the deal with North Bergen also included 4 health inspectors and 34 COVID-19 contract tracers. We've seen a lot of chatter about that out of Trenton, specifically from Governor Phil Murphy. So what exactly are they going to do now is, of course, the question. Well, according to Bayonne Corporation Counsel Jay Coffey, they're working on an agreement with the Peninsula City. While his comments were succinct, Mr. Coffey told me, we're exploring the possibility of entering a shared services agreement that would address the needs of both municipalities, of course, referring to Bayonne and West New York. So they're going to be using Vincent Ravelli. Most people know him as Vinny, and he was the West New York Health Officer between 1973 and 2017, and he also took over that role in Bayonne in mid-April. And due to an executive order by Phil Murphy, one of many during the pandemic, he is allowed to temporarily come out of retirement and collect his pension without any further compensation, as long as it's to help out with the public health emergency, obviously the coronavirus pandemic. So Bayonne and now presumably West New York will likely retain his services through the end of the year. What happens after that is anybody's guess. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, it was great to chat with you again. It's good to be back in studio, I mean, remotely, but still great to be back. And, thanks so much for your time and attention. Everybody stay safe and enjoy the rest of your week.